So, given how much I enjoyed doing Nickelodeon Movie Month last year and how much I feel like I got out of it, as you can see there, in one way or another, I felt like I really wanted to continue in some way or another the next year. In fact, I wanted to continue for the years to come. So, with that, yeah, I am going to make Nickelodeon Movie Month a regular thing. And I was almost tempted to rename it as Nickelodeon Movie Reviews. That said, though, I am going to continue in the month of June so I can keep it going that way. And I am expanding beyond just theatrical movies because, as it is right now, only two have actually been released in theaters and then on DVD. So, with that, I am going to expand upon not just simply the theatrically released Nickelodeon movies, but the TV movies and TV specials. Only criteria is they have to have been at least 40 minutes long. So yes, and a double-length TV episode of a show could technically count based on that standard. That said, I would mostly limit myself to the specials and the TV movies. And also, while I could probably fill out the entire month, I choose instead to fill out simply every Friday of the month of June. Granted, I still intend to do 5 reviews each and every year, so that would mean, even though I'm starting out late the first week of June and I would be ending the first week of July this year, the plan is for years where there was only 4 weeks in June, I would start on the last Friday of May. So, with that said, let us get right to it. This is Nickelodeon Movie Month 2020. Let us start off with one Nickelodeon movie I've been wanting to talk about for quite a while, Hey Arnold the Jungle Movie. And yeah, man, fans really highly anticipated this one for the years and years, to the point that there was a Facebook page group constantly pushing for the movie to be made and released. In case you forgot about the history, essentially the Jungle Movie was supposed to be the one theatrically released Hey Arnold movie that would close out the series. That said, though, complications arose with the fact that not only was the movie not ready yet, but Nickelodeon wanted a movie in the theaters sooner for Hey Arnold. Therefore, they took the planned TV movie Arnold Saves the Neighborhood and retooled that into Hey Arnold the Movie, which was released that year in 2002. That movie unfortunately did not do well critically or financially, and once Hey Arnold had run its course on the network with all of its new episodes, Nickelodeon decided not to move forward with this film. So, yeah, fans for years and years had heard about the fact that this was finally supposed to answer many questions, one of the biggest of which being, where in the heck have Arnold's parents been all these years? Well, it turns out this movie does indeed finally provide the answer to that and many other questions. So, let us get to it. The movie opens with Arnold, now voiced by probably the 6th actor to now voice him. If I have that incorrect, I apologize. Who is now in the 5th grade, having been about a year since he finished the 4th grade, and as summer is coming, he continues to have a recurring dream about finding his parents, only for them to leave all over again. He learns of a special project that Mr. Simmons, the teacher, is suggesting that they enter in, which would get them a trip to the fictional country of San Lorenzo, where his parents were last seen when they disappeared. So now Arnold seeks to win the contest, and thanks with help from Gerald, as well as secret help from Helga, and garnering together everybody else who Arnold has helped in some way or another over the years, or rather over the episodes and the seasons. Arnold is able to get in a submission and win the contest, and through such, he and his class are on their way to San Lorenzo for a trip. However, Arnold wanting to find his parents is not necessarily part of the trip, and when they end up stranded, it turns out they come onto they're on they're being hunted or they're being tracked by the ruthless river pilot Sombra, voiced by Alfred Molina, who seeks to use Arnold as a means of recovering the Corazon, a precious jewel that Arnold's parents had took from him years and years ago, as seen in the Journal, which was pretty much the final episode of the double-length final episode of Hey Arnold. So can Arnold find his parents and prevent La Sombra from getting the Corazon? So yeah, people wonder, for years and years this movie was being pushed, and this movie was being, the desire to get this movie made was very strong. So, after all these, now granted I had not known about any of this until probably 2011, that said though, it did not make my desire to see what happened, ended up finally happening, any less strong than anyone else. So, yeah, ultimately with all this build-up, all this time, this was exactly what I wanted it to be. And it was exactly what our other big Hey Arnold fans wanted it to be. We all loved this movie. I loved this movie. This really hit the mark on probably one of the best animated products Nickelodeon ever produced. If not for theatrically released film, if not for, in terms of their television shows, the best of the episodes of their television shows, definitely in terms of the best of their animated specials or movies. And wow, the Jungle movie just really took me back to that time where Hey Arnold was at its prime. And you can definitely tell in many cases this was a story that was written years ago, which had probably some additions thrown in to compensate for the time period change, such as Rhonda constantly utilizing a phone. Heck, I gotta say, Olivia Hack. They had a lot of the voice actors back from the original series. Olivia Hack doing the voice of Rhonda, she was hilarious in this movie. Francesca Marie Smith, the voice of Helga, for ever since the very beginning of the show. She has been back and as great as she has ever been. Benjamin Flores' little Orlino Peanut Jr. is back as here is the new actor playing Gerald, and he does a really good job. Alfred Molina as La Sombra, he is fantastic. I really wanted them to make this villain a fascinating, hateful character who would also intimidate you with every second he was on the screen, and my God, was he not only intimidating, but he was also pretty funny too. It is a shame that he was just recently cut from the Magnificent Bastard thread on TV, by the Magnificent Bastard cleanup thread on TV Tropes. I was part of that discussion, and I did say I did not want him caught. Oh well, though. Anyways, so much of this movie, the animation, top notch. I mean, the fact that a TV movie could have this quality of animation, this quality of storytelling, yeah, you can definitely tell this was not meant for television. And the fact that it was released on TV, and unfortunately not in the theaters, it is a real, real shame. I hear that back in Australia, the movie did actually get some theatrical release there, and I also heard that it did get a brief theatrical release here in America when it came out on DVD. I think that was a Fathom event. I did plan to go. Unfortunately, I made other plans, though. Man, if this ever ends up in the theater again, I will totally go see it. And not to mention, the movie does, I think, have the advantage over Hey Arnold, the movie, that it is bigger. And it feels... I would say that unlike Doug's first movie, Hey Arnold, the movie, justified itself more as a theatrically released film, because it did make for a big story, something that you would not usually see in a regular episode of Hey Arnold. And yeah, Doug's first movie only vaguely had that. In this case, this movie definitely justifies the fact that it is a movie. And man, the fact that this also was not released in the theaters, it really means that this movie could have and should have gotten the chance to get nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Academy Awards. Heck, a lot of people definitely would have preferred this getting nominated over Boss Baby, which I have not seen that movie, but clearly that nomination was very controversial. Heck, I know Coco still would have won, and Coco definitely deserved to be the winner. There is no doubt about that. That said, though, this movie really deserved the recognition. It deserves the recognition for maybe even going toe-to-toe with some of not the best of Disney, some of the, like, still memorable and entertaining of Disney, if that makes... And it stands alone as its own thing and its own story, as opposed to just simply being a continuation of the show. You do not need to watch the show to watch this movie. You do not need to be a huge fan of the show to watch this movie. You can enjoy this on its own merits. So yeah, you get this great adventure story that, if you have seen adventure films like, heck, the two 1990 Disney released movies, The Rescuers Down Under and DuckTales the movie, Treasure of the Lost Lamp, yeah, you get something that is pretty much on par with those movies. Two underrated, adventurous flicks that do not get anywhere near the same credit that they do, and more people are discovering. This movie definitely fits in with those two. This movie is definitely on the par with those. Take that for what it's worth, and you will find this is a jungle certainly worth exploring. Oh, and the Arnold and Helga storyline is also very great too. I did not want to forget that.